Everyone knows Peppa and her relatives, especially since her family isn't that big. But did you know there are hints suggesting that Peppa and George have another sibling that no one knows about?
Oh,
That's right. We've always thought that Mummy Pig only had Peppa and a few years later got pregnant with George. But what if that's not entirely true? What if Mummy Pig had another baby before George was born? If that's the case, then the dinosaur-obsessed little pig wouldn't actually be the second child in the family, he'd be the third. If you think that's impossible because Peppa and George are so close in age, remember that they're only 2 years apart. It's not healthy, but it is possible for someone to get pregnant again shortly after having a baby, especially when we're talking about pigs. Female pigs get pregnant more easily than humans due to biological factors. Plus, pig pregnancies last only 4 months, unlike human pregnancies, which last 9, almost a whole year. In other words, Mummy Pig had more than enough time to have another baby between Peppa's birth and George's. But if that's true, why has this sibling never appeared in the show? Shouldn't the characters have at least mentioned that George has an older brother at some point over the past 20 years of the series? That's exactly what we're going to find out today. Ready? Then let's dive into this mystery. Yes, the characters should have talked about this child, but maybe something so tragic happened that it traumatized the whole family to the point where no one dares to bring it up. Even though Mummy Pig probably has a short gestation period like real pigs, we don't know if the recommended waiting time before getting pregnant again is also just 40 days, or if it's like humans, 18 months. It's likely closer to 18 months since the characters in the show have many human-like traits. If that's the case, Mummy Pig's second pregnancy may have been complicated because it happened so soon after Peppa's birth. This could have led to the baby being born with a weak immune system and becoming vulnerable to a severe illness, such as swine fever, a disease that can be deadly for pigs. If the baby caught a highly contagious disease like that, he would have been kept in the hospital to prevent the pig family from getting infected until he eventually passed away, far from his family. At least, that's what the pig family believes happened, because some strange things have happened in the series that suggest Peppa's forgotten brother might still be watching over the family, just in secret. Peppa Pig's house is a mystery on its own, especially considering some of the strange things that have happened there. Like the time when the power suddenly went out for no apparent reason? Usually, a power outage happens during storms or due to a circuit breaker issue, but neither of those things seem to be the cause in this episode. It could have been just a random blackout, but we all know how rare that actually is. So, we can't rule out the possibility that this was the work of the middle child who might still be living in the house secretly after everyone assumed he had died. That is, if he didn't actually pass away and became a ghost. Not to mention, the house has a dark and dusty attic where no one seems to stay for long. Maybe that's where the middle child or his spirit is hiding. Another strange event that took place in the house was the classic case of an unknown login on the pig family's computer, an unsolved mystery to this day. This clue appears in an episode where Peppa and our little brother are playing the chicken game. At one point, the scoreboard pops up, showing the usernames of other players. Each name on the screen matches the initials of someone who lives in the house or visits often. PEP is Peppa, GEO is George, GNP is Granny Pig, GPP is Grandpa Pig, MMP is Mummy Pig, and SUZ is clearly Susie. But then, who is OOP, the player in last place with an embarrassingly low score? Could this be another clue left behind by the pig family's secret sibling? If these initials actually mean something, could they be a hint that the pig's name is Oscar Pig or something similar? Well, we can't be sure, but for now we'll call him that to make things easier. So what do you think? Could George and Peppa really have a third sibling? If you think so, comment below with #Oscar. Do you remember Daddy Pig's parents? No? Well, no one does, because they've never appeared in the show. But we've already talked about a theory that explains why, and it might just connect to the case of the pig family's middle child. To sum up this theory, it suggests that Daddy Pig may have taken his own sister's life in a fit of rage during childhood, leading his parents to take the blame and end up in prison. What backs up this theory is an old black and white photo that Daddy Pig has of himself and a mysterious girl who seems to be a sister. Neither she nor his parents have ever appeared in the series, and this dark event in Daddy Pig's past would explain their absence. But what if his parents were released from prison years ago, only to lose their minds after everything that happened? Imagine if, after their release, they disguised themselves as doctors at the hospital where Oscar was being treated and faked his death to take him away. All as a twisted form of revenge against Daddy Pig. He thinks his son passed away, but in reality, Oscar is living somewhere far away with his paternal grandparents. In that case, The middle child probably doesn't even remember his real parents and believes they're dead or something like that. One of the biggest clues supporting the idea that Oscar is still connected to his family in a very unexpected way involves George's favorite toy, Mr. Dinosaur. In the olden days, we learn that the youngest pig has had Mr. Dinosaur since he was a baby and has never let go of the toy. It seems that the toy is the reason why he became so obsessed with dinosaurs, to the point where his first word wasn't Daddy or Mommy, but dinosaur instead. George is so attached to Mr. Dinosaur that they're inseparable, even during meals and bath time. He even prefers playing with it over the purple dinosaur he got for his birthday, or the robotic dinosaur he received when his original toy broke. Sure, he likes them, but Mr. Dinosaur is irreplaceable. If you know kids George's age, or if you are that age, you know that it's much more common for little kids to abandon old toys in favor of new ones, rather than get disattached to a single toy, because young children get bored easily. Unless, of course, there's a secret reason why George loves this toy so much, like the possibility that his older brother's spirit lives inside it? What if they communicate through some kind of mental connection? If that's true, is Oscar watching over George because he genuinely cares about his little brother, or does he have darker intentions for the family's youngest member? Another strange thing in the series that Oscar's existence could explain is Mummy and Daddy Pig's favoritism toward George. Many fans don't understand why so many adults seem overly concerned with George's happiness, like when the Pig family threw them an extravagant birthday party at a museum, complete with a giant robotic dinosaur. At first glance, it just seems like they're spoiling the youngest child, but that doesn't fully explain why they go to such extreme lengths for him. But if George was born after Oscar's death, or fake death, then it all makes sense. He probably reminds his parents and grandparents of the child they lost, especially since Oscar likely looked a lot like him. This theory just keeps getting more interesting, doesn't it? If you want to see more Peppa Pig theories and other awesome cartoon mysteries, click the subscribe button. This way, you'll always get our daily videos. Don't miss out. And that's exactly why George's parents seem so worried about his health. In the episode where he catches a cold, even though Peppa thinks her brother isn't that sick, their parents call a doctor just to be sure. This makes even more sense if Oscar was actually infected with swine fever, since a high fever is one of the symptoms of this terrible disease. The moment George started feeling unwell, Mummy and Daddy Pig were immediately on high alert because of what had already happened in the family's past. That's why the first thing they did was check to make sure it was just a regular cold. Not to mention that if George had actually contracted swine fever, Peppa and their parents would also be at serious risk, since the disease spreads incredibly fast. So, if Dr. Brown Bear noticed anything unusual, he would have sent the little one straight to the hospital to prevent anyone else from getting infected. It might not seem like it, but Peppa Pig's world could actually be way more dangerous than ours, meaning the pig family's middle child may not have died from swine fever at all. Even though carnivorous animals appear to live in harmony with the herbivores, the show has made some strange little jokes. Jokes that hint that some carnivores are secretly dying to eat certain characters. For example, when Mr. Lion meets Madame Gazelle. And let's not forget Wendy Wolf's parents, who have asked Daddy Pig more than once if his house is made of straw. Because if it was, they could easily blow it down, and before long the pig family would be on the menu. So, Oscar could have actually fallen victim to a carnivorous animal that couldn't resist its natural instincts. Like Grandma Wolf herself, who almost admitted that her teeth are used for devouring people in Wendy Wolf's birthday. Imagine if one of the upcoming episodes actually confirmed this. People would be traumatized, and rightfully so. We've left 2 awesome videos on your screen, so you can keep having fun. Just click on one of them. Super easy. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.